Welcome everyone to This Week in Geek. It's episode 53. My name is Ren Geekness, and I am joined by, at this point here, at least a part-time co-host, Patrick Burrow from Down Under. He's joining us today because Zach can be here. He's out celebrating, I don't know, there's some American
I don't
holiday
know.
going on this week.
Yeah,
We're not
he did
Americans, so we don't know.
He did mention it briefly, but I was like, wait, what is that? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, Portugal Independence Day was like 2 months ago at this point, so you're late to celebrate Independence Day wherever you are. Thank you so much for finding us. However you're finding us, if you're watching us live on YouTube or you're watching the repeat, make sure you click that like button, you share some opinions in the comments, or join the live chat if you're watching live. Or if you're finding us on Spotify, thank you so much for finding us on Spotify. Remember to rate us because that really helps the show and lets us know if we're doing anything right or anything wrong. In case you are new to the show, this show works in 3 segments. First segment, me, Patrick, we are going to go over our weekly ranking. That's when we look back on everything we watched this past week and rank it from the worst to the best. We then highlight your weekly rankings from the live chat. After that, we go into discussing our main topic. That's what you see on the thumbnail, on the title. This week, we finally got our Superman and Lois for Superman Legacy. And after that, the last part of the show, the best part of the show, at least my favorite part of the show, is when we answer your questions. That's when you leave questions on the community tab. There's a post there with a thumbnail for this video. Or if you want to guarantee your question is answered and answered immediately, you can always actively support us as you ask questions through the Super Chat feature or the tip link in the description. All that housekeeping out of the way, let us get started with our weekly rankings. And I am going to get us started this week because I did not watch a lot of things, but I did watch all good things, only things I liked. And I'm going to start with the weakest thing, which is a movie I liked. It's now streaming on Netflix, and that is Nimona. So apparently this is going to be a Disney movie, but Disney dropped it. It's now on Netflix. It's based on a graphic novel that I never heard of, to be honest. I didn't know this was a thing. And this is a really fun time. I think it's super charming. I think it has a distinct visual style, which these days you kind of have to, because now you have Spider-Verse, you have Puss in Boots, now you have Nimona. All of them have distinct styles. I think there are quite a few story elements that are rather undercooked by the end. But I think despite the familiarity of the story, it pulls it off in an effective way. And the characters just bring you along that journey. On top of that, I'm going to have No Hard Feelings. I finally watched the Jennifer Lawrence-led comedy that I was very excited about. And it's not as good as I expected. And the best way I can explain it is I laughed throughout the film from beginning to end, but it was never a laugh riot. So there were consistent laughs, but it was never, ha, I'm almost dying. I can't breathe because I'm laughing so much. There was never one of those, but there were always good jokes, good characters. There's a heart to it. By the end, I do feel like the heart compromises the raunchiness, the depravity per se of the comedy. And I always like when the two can coexist. I don't want one of these comedies without a heart, but I also don't want the heart to take down a bit of the comedy too much.
Is it still worth the watch, would you say? Because I've been excited.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to see it yet.
No, I would say it's definitely worth a watch. Like, you are definitely going to have a good time. It's not going to blow your mind. It's probably not going to be in your top 10 of the year, but you're going to leave the cinema and like, I'm glad I went to the cinema tonight and I watched and I had a really fun time.
I'm just looking for a feel-good romp more than anything else. A nice rom-com.
It is a romp. That's what it is.
That's what I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking for a romp. I'm looking for a good time, a fun, genuine, but also sadistic and really funny, romantic comedy with Jennifer Lawrence. And I can't remember the actor's name, but he looks good in it. Ever since I saw the first trailer, I'm like, that's what I want to see. I'm seeing it tomorrow. So,
I took my time myself to watch it because it came out last week, and I hadn't been able to watch it because of work until yesterday. I was like, fuck it, let's finally watch it before it leaves. Because I already missed Boogeyman. I know I did something else that I missed.
I haven't seen Indiana Jones or Transformers. I haven't seen I haven't seen any of these movies recently because my work schedule recently has just been all over the place.
Well, Indiana Jones, at least it only came out yesterday. So
for me, it was actually 4 days ago.
Oh, it came out on Wednesday as well.
pre-night showings were Tuesday.
Oh, okay. It came out on Wednesday for us as well. So, but it came out this week, so you're well in time to see it. Before my number one, which Patrick just mentioned, but we'll get to that, I'm going to recommend you a show. The first two episodes are out now, and that is Hijack on Apple TV+.
I've been looking forward to that, actually.
If you watch the trailer, here's how I watched the trailer for this show, Patrick. Okay, Idris Elba. I love Idris Elba. I watch anything with him. Let's check out this trailer. And so I started, I'm like, for the first, I don't want to say minute, but like for the first 45 seconds or so, I'm like, this is nonstop with Liam Neeson, which I like that movie very much, more than most people, but I don't know if I want to watch a show of that. And then it takes a turn. And it brings all these different elements that add to the tension. And that's what these first two episodes are. Tension from beginning to end. And it's so good. When you watch the first episode, there are moments where they go to other characters outside the plane. And you're like, okay, fine, but how does this connect? And then the second episode, by the end of the first episode, you're like, oh, here's a hook that makes this conflict very compelling. Like, I understand why Idris Elba is the main character. By the end of the second episode, one of the other story threads that I'm like, this isn't as interesting. Like, literally, the plot thickens. You're like, oh, what's going on here? How is this going to connect to like the main thing that you were watching? And so it's going to come out weekly from now on. I think it's on Wednesdays. But right now, I'm loving these first two episodes. Cannot recommend this show enough. And finally, on my number one, it's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I really, 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 really like. I'm
so excited.
My biggest issue with this film is really the third act. I don't want to get into it, but let's just say it's not as silly, as out there as aliens or beings from another dimension and spaceships were buried on the earth. But ridiculous. It also, within the context of the film, it doesn't feel as earned as 1,000-year-old night waiting for you to choose the Holy Grail. Because even within that, there's a bit of ambiguity to it. Like, he maybe looks he dresses like he's 1,000 years old. He seems to have the knowledge for it, but is he? Like, there's nothing visually there to prove it. Same with the Holy Grail itself. I don't know if it's actually the Holy Grail from religious myth and all that. This, I think it still works. Not as good as the rest of the film, but I think it still works because they managed to make it work emotionally for the arc Indy is going through.
Right.
And so when you have that arc and you do what they do in the third act, which I'm not going to spoil, like, I can see that. I still have some issues with it. When you see the film, literally, I just wish the characters had literally turned back at the last minute. You know exactly what I mean when you see it, but it doesn't ruin the movie. It's just the first two acts are right up here. The rest of the movie is here, the third act. And so the whole film becomes sort of like here.
Middle.
Like, it's great. I really like this film. Is it all-time great like the original trilogy? No. Is it Kingdom of the Crystal Skull bad? Like, absolutely mid filmmaking? No. What also has on top of the Crystal Skull is that it looks great. It looks cinematic.
Well, that was the biggest issue with Crystal Skull, in my opinion. It didn't look cinematic. It had this very clean, very glossy look about it, and it felt very unlived in, whereas the other three indies, and from the trailers I've seen for Dial of Destiny, it has a very lived in, very dirty look about it that makes it feel like these characters are in these situations. Like
100%.
The scene where the sort of catacomb people were hopping in and out with Shia LaBeouf and Indy grave digging. I'm like, shouldn't Indy be like covered in dust as if he's just been hanging off of the barrel of a tank and he's been dragged against a wall? But he just wasn't. He was so clean.
Yeah. And with the monkeys and all, I just don't like the look of that film, even back in 2008. I think this film looks great, and it's going to continue to look great. So that is my weekly ranking. Go watch Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. It's really, really good.
I'm excited finally watch it tomorrow along with Transformers and No Hard Feelings. I'm doing a triple feature.
Fuck yes.
Probably one of the weirdest triple features out there, but I need to catch up and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because these are 3 movies I've been really excited for. Like all 3 of them.
100%.
I'm dying to see it because I love Bumblebee. I love this director and the cast previous work with Transformers. I'm keen. I'm really fucking keen. And No Hard Feelings. Look, I just need a good romp. I need that in my life. I don't even care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. I just want to have a fun time.
Yeah.
So I guess I should get into my weekly ranking then.
Yes, please.
So a lot of these are rewatches for me, but a lot of them are also old movies that are first-time watches for me. So first up, as the worst, I wouldn't even say it's like the weakest. It's the worst. Insidious: The Last Key. This is a movie I didn't like in theaters when it came out in 2018, I want to say, and I don't like it now. This is a movie that I believe was directed by the guy who did Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it doesn't have a very... I don't know. It was very dark, might I add. But while the first couple Insidious movies were dark, they had a sort of vibrance with the style and the lighting and everything, especially in the further. Like it was a very...
It's the same... Well, no, he wrote the Ghost Dimension, and he directed the escape room movies after Last Key.
That doesn't surprise me because I don't like the escape room movies. I don't like the Last Key. I thought escape room 1 was fine. 2 was weird. And there are 2 versions out there.
I still haven't seen whatever the other version is.
Which one did you get?
So which one
did you get? I
don't know how to answer.
Did you get the one with the redhead, or did from the first movie? Okay,
the
other one actually has whatever her name is from Orphans, something Furman.
Isabel Furman.
Isabel Furman. She's in it playing the daughter of the guy with the whole game organization thing. And like they're locked between 2 different walls, and there's like a choice, very Saw style.
How do I find this? Like
it's online. I think it's on Shudder or YouTube Prime, whatever.
Okay.
There are 2 versions out there because I remember when Pugapilla, my friend Alex, when he did his movie reaction to Escape Room Tournament of Champions, he had the version with Isabel Furman, whereas the one I saw in theaters was the one with the redhead from the first movie surviving. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this video? This isn't the same movie I saw. Like the second half of the movie is entirely different. But apparently it was like a unfriended dark web situation where depending on the showing you went to, it was a different version of the movie.
I wonder if we had that because I was back home like for summer holidays when it was like one of my last days before coming back, and I'm like, I still need to watch this. So I went to watch it in the morning, which is very uncommon. Like we usually don't have cinema showings in the morning, and so I went right before lunch, went back home, recorded a review, all that. So I really want to watch this now because I love like Game of Death horror movies, so I had a lot of fun with escape room movies.
That's fair enough. But no, Insidious: The Last Key, I think its direction is very shoddy. The lighting is fucking dog shit. I think Lee Winnell and those playing like what is it, Tapper and fucking what is it, Lynn Shay being back as Elise is always really fucking nice. But you know, the main girls in the movie, they tried. I have a sort of love-hate relationship for the main girl, the blonde. But that's because she played Kmart in the really dog shit Resident Evil movies, in Resident Evil Extinction and Afterlife. But I think she's a talented actress. I've seen her in good things, but unfortunately this felt like another Resident Evil Extinction situation. The script just wasn't there. The direction was all over the place. It's a very boring movie, and the worst thing you can do with a horror movie is make it boring, in my opinion, even if it isn't good. But yeah, I just didn't like The Last Key back then. I don't like it now. I think it's easily the weakest of the franchise. Next up, Insidious 2. Yes, you know where this is going. I did an Insidious rewatch. Insidious 2 is fine. It exists. I think Lee Winnell does a good job for the most part, especially with his direction. His horror direction is chef's kiss. Every fucking time I watch a horror movie of his, it's always perfect. It was the inclusion of comedy that bugged me, and the whole like, oh, now Patrick Wilson's character is like possessed by this woman of his past and will occasionally turn into her. I'm like, really? Like after everything we saw in the first movie, it feels like it sort of does that Alien 3 thing from Aliens, where it's like, oh, we got rid of her, but actually she's now possessing the dad and is more in the real world. It feels like it discredits a lot of the success of the first movie. I understand the cliffhanger that the first movie leaves on, and it makes sense and all, but it does discredit a lot of what the characters went through to try and continue that story with Rose Byrne, Patrick Wilson, and everything. Lin Shaye, even though, you know, Lin Shaye's kind of dead for the entire movie at this point. She's just in the further. But everyone does a good job, don't get me wrong. I just think the inclusion of comedy horror to make it more of a scary movie type situation in this one, it didn't make it have the same tone. And I understand that that's fine for the most part in a movie like this, but it needs to have that balance of tones, sort of like what a romantic comedy does in regards to the heart and the jokes. It needs to have that balance, and I don't think Insidious 2 found that balance, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I know Insidious 2 has a lot of people that love it, and that's okay. Next up, Would You Rather, released in 2012. A very obscure psychological horror movie where it's very much so like Ready or Not.
Okay.
Where a bunch of people that are literally down in the dumps. Our main character, played by Brittany Snow from X and Pitch Perfect fame. She's our main character, Iris. She gets invited to a dinner one night where it could literally change her life. All she has to do is play a game. With a bunch of other
I have
people.
seen this. I have seen
Yes,
this.
7 other people who are down the dumps. One's a recovering alcoholic. One's an ex-military soldier. One of them, their husband died by drowning and everything. Ironic way how she goes out, believe it or not. Very unfortunate. But it turns into a death game of Would You Rather. And they have to make a tough choice. Like, would you rather take the envelope where the choice is uncertain, or hold your head, have your head held in a barrel and hold your breath underwater for 2 minutes? Would you like the known or the unknown? And that unknown could be like slitting your eye open with a razor blade, or having all of your teeth ripped out and extracted. And it's a very morbid and very uncomfortable movie to watch, but I think that's mainly due to the very wise choice of when to use music, and therefore it feels very lived and very real. My main issue with the movie is the script is, for the most part, like, it's fine, but it doesn't feel real for the tone they're going for. The gray color palette gets very old very fast. I understand that it's there for visual tone, but it isn't anything particularly pleasant to look at to keep you invested visually the entire movie. And the editing felt a bit over the place as well. There are some cuts where I'm like, that was held too long, or that wasn't long enough, or that's a very awkward place for you to have this cut with this next scene or this next shot. Even in the script's editing process, it just felt odd. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. Next, 2005 remake of House of Wax. I'd never seen this movie. It's directed by Joan Collett-Serra, who directed a movie you mentioned earlier, Non-Stop. He also did Black Adam, Run All Night, The Shallows. I'm a fan of Joan Collett-Serra. Jungle Cruise. I love his filmography. I liked House of Wax quite a bit. It's long. It's really, really long. It's 2 hours. And for a grungy, borderline torture porn, psychological slasher movie, it feels long as well. Like, it takes an hour and 10 minutes for things to start get going with some of the most bland, boring characters you've ever fucking seen on screen. But what gets you through it is their interactions and their bond as a friend group. That is very believable in this movie. Joan Collett-Serra's directing, beautiful. Really, really beautiful. He does a great job. And some things that I thought were CG were actually practical, apparently, in the comment section, because I posted a reaction to the movie, which is really cool to hear about. And I think that the main character, Carly, was very likable. This has Paris Hilton in it, who has a glorious death in this movie after she unnecessarily runs around in nothing but a bra and panties, because sex appeal in a horror movie in the 2000s, it's sort of just a trope at that point. Her death
one of the reasons why I avoided watching this movie. Paris Hilton is in it.
She's not good.
Oh, you don't say.
She's really, really fucking bad in it. She's really bad. Her acting is all over the place, and she's that very, but I'll tell him later. I might be pregnant, but, I don't want to put a damper. He's been looking forward to this football game for 8 months. Oh, shut up. Like, she might be pregnant, but she doesn't want. Granted, her boyfriend was not even likable either. He was the guy who played the main character in that, what was that? Fatale back in 2000, whatever, where the really rich guy cheats on his wife with the white detective played by, what was her name? Fatale. It features
I
Hilary
know them.
Swank, Michael Ealy, Mike Coulter, directed by Dean Taylor.
Oh, Mike Coulter. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, it also has Ryan Colt Levy in it, who I got to interview last year.
Oh, yeah.
Who was in Chainsaw Man. He played Denji, so that was really cool to see him in the background of Fatal. But yeah, House of Wax is fun. It's just really long, and you feel it. It's really long, but it's enjoyable. It has some good kills, a likable character sort of group interaction. I enjoyed it for the most part. Next, I have Insidious Chapter 3. I am one of the few that love Insidious Chapter 3. I think this is a great sequel. I think for me, though, it's the single location side of things inside of an apartment building, like in Evil Dead Rise, but a character who is literally helpless. She's in a wheelchair with a broken legs, broken arms, a broken neck and everything, with this demon-type entity from the further trying to get to her. But it's also really good to see a relapsing and struggling from trauma thing from her husband dying, Lynn Shay, as Elise. Like, this is a prequel to Insidious 1 and 2. And it added such a whole new flavor and dynamic between her paranormal investigative friends and everything, played by Lee Winnell, and forgive me for not remembering the other actor's name, but in Lynn Shay, it adds this dynamic between them that is really, really nice, and adds this extra layer of characterization and emotion to Lynn Shay, as well as Elise, alongside the horrifying circumstances within the movie as well. It's a movie that genuinely gets under my skin quite frequently. Just like the next movie, Insidious, Chapter 1. This is one of Lee Winnell's best horror movies, in my opinion, along with Saw. I like this movie way more than the Conjuring films. Way more. I think that his I've never been a big fan of the Conjuring movies, and a big part of that is the script and the characters are really bad in both movies, in my opinion. And it just makes it very to watch, despite the horror imagery. His script, though, and his direction in Insidious 1 is so perfect, in my opinion. The way he ramps up scares, the fear of the unknown, and then how he follows through on those scares. Like when they hear the knocking on the door early in the movie, but then Patrick Wilson goes into the further and he knocks on the door. He realizes that was him in the future, in the further, knocking on the door and everything for that past. And I'm like, that's a really cool thing. It makes the lore a little bit wishy-washy, sort of confusing, a little bit wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, if you will. But at the same time, it's really tightly done. And there is not a single thing where I'm like, I don't remember if he didn't follow through on those points he mentioned earlier. All the scares make sense. They're perfectly timed. Jump scares don't annoy me in this movie because they're things that you would be startled by. They're not just annoying noises and fake outs like you get in a lot of modern horror movies. It is genuine scares. There's a lot of very creepy imagery in it as well. And the family bond between Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson in this movie is way better than it was in part 2. It is very strong. And I love how romantic they are together, even in such a treacherous situation where their son's been in a coma for God knows how long because he is stuck far, far away in the further. And it's more of a movie about the tight bond of family than paranormal, which I really love about the first Insidious.
I've
got two more.
Oh, okay.
I've got two more. So the next one, the quintessential quintuplets movie. I'm a big fan of quintessential quintuplets. I think it's a really fun romantic anime. And you know, Uesugi finding out which girl it was and getting the girl of his dreams, and it was my personal best girl. You know, not to spoil it for anyone who may not have seen it or wants to see it. I won't spoil it, obviously, but it was really sweet, really pure. It's a fun anime in general. Yeah, it's just a feel-good anime romance. That's all it is, and it makes me feel incredibly lonely because I want that. Anime will do that to you. But my number one is the Netflix original anime movie, which I hope we're finally getting a continuation of this anime, Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King. I am a massive Black Clover fan. I've got a tattoo of Asta on my arm for a reason.
Oh, nice.
And this was the return to Black Clover I've been looking forward to for 4 years now, because we haven't had a continuation of Black Clover since like 2019, 2020. And at a whopping 170 episodes, but there is so much manga content that has just not been adapted yet. They've just had a halt. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Netflix bought the rights to Black Clover, and they wanted to do this movie because this movie was announced ages ago, and it's finally out. It literally is the best non-canonical arc that they could have given to characters like Yuno and Asta and Julius. I will never trust Julius ever again after reading the manga, by the way. I just want to fucking point that out. But it was just so sweet, and it was just a really fun, epic movie, and literally provided us so much extra lore into past Wizard Kings, a part of the Black Clover universe, and it makes Asta, as his character, one who doesn't wield magic, but anti-magic. He has no magic. He has a Devil's Grimoire, the 5-leaf grimoire, as opposed to a 3 or 4-leaf grimoire like most of the others. He has the Devil's Grimoire, so him wielding anti-magic with the Devil Slayer sword and everything, and the sword, the blackened sword of, Dark Elves and everything. It provides so much to his character as one who is literally possessed by a devil and doesn't wield magic, and him still striving to be the Wizard King of the Clover Kingdom. And it makes me very excited for what's to come in Black Clover moving forward with a lot of things. But again, I refuse to trust Julius ever again. The manga broke my heart with some reveals involving him, just like the latest My Hero chapter broke my heart regarding something that happened regarding a particular side character that I personally love. Ren probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. I feel very betrayed by Horikoshi. I thought that this character was safe, but I'm sad.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. And with that down, let's highlight your weekly rankings, ladies and gentlemen. We start with Nathan Madigan. Number 5, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's where it belongs. Number 4, Temple of Doom. Number 3, Last Crusade. Number 2, Leave No Trace. And number 1, Raging Bull. Let me just double check which one is Leave No Trace.
Yeah, I can't think of that one either.
If it is the 2018 movie with Thomasin McKenzie and Ben Foster, I have not seen it. But I would rate Last Crusade above Raging Bull easily, personally.
I would personally rank Temple of Doom and Last Crusade above Raging Bull.
All right.
I'm a big Temple of Doom fan.
I love Temple of Doom. Jigo EP, number 8, Little Nicky. Adam Sandler's Spawn of Satan feels appropriate looking in most of his comedies. Number 7, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. Number 6, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Here it is. Number 5, Temple of Doom. Number 4, Secret Invasion Episode 1 and 2. Number 3, The Bear Season 2. And number 2, The Last Crusade. And number 1, Raiders. I disagree, but I think between Raiders and Last Crusade, I think that's a fair debate.
I'd have Crusade personally at like the number 1 on my indie list currently.
Same.
I didn't like Secret Invasion episodes 1 and 2, by the way.
Oh, no. I love episode 1. I think episode 2 is more, okay, what's going on here? But I think episode 1 is fantastic.
That's fair.
Dominici Scott, number 8, The Suicide Squad. Number 7. Wow, the Suicide Squad in last place. Like the wildest disagreement so far, my friend. Behind Gotham Knights, man.
And Aquaman behind Gotham Knights too. I watched like 2 episodes of Gotham Knights and I'm like, I'm out. I'm dipping while I'm ahead. I'm dipping.
You watched more than I did.
Yeah.
So number 8, The Suicide Squad. Number 7, Aquaman. Number 6, Gotham Knights final episode. Number 5, Justice League. Number 4, Wonder Woman. Number 3, Suicide. I can't, brother. I can't. Number 2, Superman and Lois season finale. I just started
yet.
Catching up on the latest season.
I haven't seen the season finale yet. I've seen the clips on TikTok though, and I'm really wanting to watch it.
I saw like a thumbnail for a YouTube video, and I saw the title.
You know what classic villains in it?
Yes, and from what I'm at in the season, I'm like, how do you get from where we are now to that? That's what I'm most curious about. But after seeing episode 5, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see how you get there. It still feels like a stretch. Number 1, Evil Dead Rise. That's still very much in my top 10 of the year so far. I love
Evil Dead
movie.
Rise. I saw it like 4 times in theaters. I saw it 4 times. It was so good. I'm so sad Zach didn't like it as much. I'm so mad.
Same. I would. The Suicide Squad is the best movie here, unless you mean specifically Zack Snyder's Justice League. that would be right after it, and then Evil Dead Rise for me, and then Aquaman. Nope, Evil Dead Rise and Aquaman are very much like
I love Aquaman.
same place.
What more could you want
It's
from a
live
movie with
action
an octopus
anime
playing?
movie.
Exactly, and what more could you want from a movie where it literally has an octopus playing drums?
Exactly, 100%. Eric Thorpe, weekly ranking number 13, Batman Forever. Batman Forever is better than Batman and Robin. No.
Yeah.
Wait.
Batman and Robin's the one with Clooney
Val Kilmer. Yeah.
Batman and Robin's the one with Clooney nipples.
Yeah. Forever is much better. Number 11, Mission Impossible 2. Number 10, Mission Impossible. Number 9, Secret Invasion episodes 1 and 2. Number 8, Harley Quinn. Catch up because the fourth season is coming out. 7, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom. I cannot rank.
I have to have the original MI above of Crystal Skull.
Yeah, and I'll even put MI2 above it and Secret Invasion as well.
I wouldn't put MI2 above it personally. I really have a very unhealthy hatred towards MI2. It's not healthy at all.
Man. I think it's
the opening was
stupid,
cool,
but in the best ways.
The opening was great, but at least Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was edited well. At least it's not shaky cam choppy bullshit.
But it's not John Woo. You don't have doves in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
John fucking Woo.
John fucking Woo, baby. Number 6, Elemental, which I don't get until July. I not only was never invited for the press screening, I missed the secret screening because I had Asteroid City, and Asteroid City is garbage. So yeah, that's the second Wes Anderson movie I didn't like. It's not garbage, but it's not good. So I cannot wait to see Elemental. I will still give you a review no matter how late I am for it.
Let's see Bobby next week.
You son of a bitch. 2 weeks for me. 2 weeks. Number 5, Barry season 4, episode 8. That's the finale, I believe. Lost a number. 11, Death, which I gave up on. Number 3, The Flash. Number 2, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. All right, we have it above Flash. We can agree on that. And number 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is still the best Indiana Jones movie.
Best opening in an Indiana Jones movie too. Holy shit.
Best ending in the Indiana Jones movie.
You named your son after the dog.
Weekly ranking, number 4, Secret Invasion. Number 3, Zookeeper. The Kevin James? I don't like it. Number 2, superhero movie, which should have been so much better if they pulled off that spoof in this day and age. And number 1, Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. And is that it? You don't like the Ultimate Edition?
I do like the Ultimate Edition quite a bit. And what I love is that little detail, which I don't know why they removed it out of the theatrical cut, but the fact that it's not Lex Luthor. It's like a Lex Luthor son situation. Like, why that one line where it's like, I'm stuck in the the shadow of my father. I'm like, oh, so this is like Lex Luthor Jr. This isn't the Lex Luthor. That makes more sense to the take that Jesse was going for. Why the fuck wasn't this in the theatrical edition? I don't know.
I agree. I don't think it's like leaps and bounds better than the normal edition, but it's better. I agree that it's better
because it has Jolly Ranchers. Because it has Jolly fucking Ranchers. Hey, you want a Jolly Rancher?
It also has Granny's Peach Tea in both editions. So
hell yeah.
Before we go, hang on. Jack Alexander, weekly ranking, number 9, Cars, number 8, Carl's Date. Oh, I want to see that so bad.
Cars 3 is where it belongs at number 9.
Cars 3 is it's the best Cars movie.
Cars 1.
Carl's Date, number 7, John Mulaney, Baby Jane, number 6, Elemental, number 5, Tarzan, number 3, Locke. Tarzan is better than Locke. If we're talking about the Disney Tarzan. Number 3, Crystal Skull, ahead of Tarzan and Locke.
Really?
Number 2, The Last Crusade, and number 1, Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stoppin', which is a wild number 1 that I immensely respect.
What the hell is that? Is that the one with that? Is that Andy Samberg?
It's the Woody Allen movie. Yeah.
So that one with Andy Samberg?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
Pop star, never stop, never stop, never stopping. No, I've never seen this. It's
It's
Cohen
so
and
good.
Akiva Schaffer.
Yeah, it's really good. Watch it.
Is it?
I wouldn't put it ahead of The Last Crusade or Tarzan, but it's really good. It's very, 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 very good.
Tim Meadows in it, really?
Yeah, wild like cameos all over the place. Stop looking at it so you don't get like all the surprises spoiled.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
I'm clicking away.
But yeah, it's very, very good. All right, everyone. With that out of the way, let's get into our main topic because we knew it would come before Comic-Con. We just didn't know in what form. James Gunn has, well, he didn't reveal the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, the big outlets, they broke it, and James Gunn confirmed we have found our Superman and Lois, not for the show, but for Superman Legacy. And the brand new actor taking on the cape and the trunks and everything that comes with being from Krypton is David Corenswet. In my own head, I've been calling him Corenswet. It's just easier to pronounce and it makes it easy to remember. So the question right now is, how excited does this casting make us for this film? And since we have two Superman and Lois, we're going to talk about Superman and Lois separately. So as for David being Superman, does it get me more excited? No. Honestly, it doesn't, because I have not seen this guy in anything. I know he was in Pearl. I saw Pearl. I don't remember anything about him in Pearl. There was nothing like that stood out about him. All that being said, and you guys will understand the gravity of the importance of this comparison. When Henry Cavill was announced as Superman, I didn't get excited because I didn't know who Henry Cavill was at the time. So right now, when it comes to this actor, I'm in the place of, I trust that James Gunn saw Superman in this guy. I just don't know what this guy has to offer because I haven't seen him in anything that stood out and makes me remember him as an actor. So as for David, I'm happy for him, but it just doesn't get my excitement any higher than it already was. More so 100%. Curious at this point, but not excited. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is one of the best comic book castings I have ever seen. For the past month, when the shortlists were coming out about who was in talks for Superman, who was in talks for Lois Lane, yeah, I like Emma Mackey. Yeah, I don't remember who the other actress was. I'm sorry. I'm blanking. But I know she was well known. I knew her from places. Rachel Brosnahan was immediately who I went, she should be Lois Lane. She has the look. She has the energy. She has the charisma. She has just the vibe of a Lois Lane. She is a perfect shoo-in for this film, where they are generally the same age, but she naturally comes off as more mature, more like a woman, a fully made woman, and he is more like, yeah, he's a man already, but he's still getting started in working and making a life, a living for himself, moving cities and all that. This is perfect. I am so happy that she has this role. And I am very happy as well that Nicholas Hoult did not get the role of Superman.
I am too, although I think he deserves a superhero role soon again outside of Beast.
I want him as Lex Luthor. I think he's perfect not only as Lex Luthor, but as this Lex Luthor for this Superman.
An interesting thing for me would be, I actually think he'd be a pretty good Clayface for Batman Part 2. Because
I would like to see it. I would be into that.
Because I finally watched Renfield, and when I'm watching Renfield, I'm like, if there was a little bit more adversity and a little bit more more or less aggression in his performance in Renfield, I see Clayface personally in Nicholas Hoult. And the thing is, as for Emma McKay, I don't see her necessarily as Lois Lane. I think that She is a phenomenal actress. I think she is so good in Sex Education if you've ever seen it. I think she is brilliant in the movie. She is such a good actress. But I don't see her more of a Lois Lane. If anything, I see her more as like a Batwoman, like a next generation Batwoman for like Batman. What is it? Brave and the Bold. When that movie gets cast, like I would love to see her as a possible Batwoman. I think she deserves a superhero role because she's a phenomenal actress and deserves that really big blockbuster, big screen treatment. But for me, I'm going to be honest. The only thing I've seen Rachel Brosnahan in that I at least remember her from is The Courier. I don't remember her in anything else. And as for David Corenswet, I haven't seen Pearl yet because we only got like a 1 week release of Pearl in theaters here in Australia in March this year, and I didn't make it to theaters to check it out. So I can't say I've actually seen him in anything, but the thing is, this actually makes me more excited because these are actors that aren't familiar to me. And if like they were,
you don't associate them with other roles.
That's exactly right. So I have nothing, one, to compare them to, and three, it's not like a known person where I'm like, oh yeah, that's them. I'm excited to see them in it, but it's just going to be that person again that I've seen in a million other movies. For me, it's like a fresh slate for them playing these characters, as you said, with like Henry Cavill regarding Superman back in like 2012 when he was announced. Yeah. I'd rather big roles with a reboot of this series of characters in the DC, not even the DCU, it's just a DC universe at this point, or DC adaptations with these characters. I'd prefer it to be people that are unfamiliar to myself, that are unfamiliar to the public, and gives them a chance. Yeah. Most of the audience, and gives them a chance for their moment in the industry to break through as well, to see their potential and what they could do with their careers. I'd rather roles like this, especially with a fresh slate, a clean slate, be given to someone with opportunity and purpose and more or less potential. Like I would love to see them given that chance, and that's what has been done here, and it makes me very, very happy because it does just make me more excited. I know there have been the comparisons where David Corenswet just looks like a younger Henry Cavill. Sure, say that all you
Henry
want.
Cavill who hasn't eaten his calories for the day, so
exactly
he hasn't bulked up yet.
No, exactly. But at the same time, make the jokes, make the memes all you will, whatever motive you're trying to make behind that decision, whatever. These were the best decisions, though, out of who were shortlisted, in my opinion. Like, Rachel McAdams as the other choice for Lois Lane, really?
Too old. And she's not old at all. Like I worship at the altar of Rachel McAdams.
And she's a good actress.
My favorite rom-com of all time. But yeah,
she's a great actress. She's a good romantic, like a good actress in a rom-coms, as you just said. But she's not Lois Lane in my opinion. I don't see her being Lois Lane.
I don't think she's Lois Lane for this version. If you were going to cast a Superman that has been Superman if you were going to cast a Superman like in the show Superman and Lois, that they've been married for years, he's been Superman for years, maybe they even have, they don't necessarily need to have, but maybe they even have kids. If you're going for that age range, Rachel McAdams, absolutely fucking perfect. Could not have nailed it any better. For this, I don't think.
Although Bitsy Tulik, she's great. I've seen Grimm and everything. She was great as Juliet, and I'm really glad that she is Lois. Like, she is so good as Lois in this show. And yeah, and it's not her first. Sorry?
So for the Batman, Brave and the Bold, you would get an unknown as well?
Yes. Okay. I would. Either that or someone who, like Robert Pattinson, has sort of not had the strongest career with like Twilight and everything and like one Harry Potter movie. Like, don't get me wrong, he did Good Time, which was fucking phenomenal. I love Good Time. And I'm actually one of the people who defends High Life. But he did a few like indies alongside a not so great franchise he doesn't like talking about. It's either a nobody or someone who hasn't had the best like startup career to give them that chance and prove themselves. Again, in roles like this, especially with a clean slate, I'd prefer someone to have potential and prove themselves and to give us something fresh and unique with their original take rather than someone that we've seen in the industry a million times before.
Okay. Because for me, when I think of this version of Batman, the specific scenario of this Batman, who has Damian Wayne, he's not a Ben Affleck old Batman, but he has been Batman. He's experienced all that, and how he fits into the rest of this universe. Like, I love the idea of Jake Gyllenhaal being this Batman.
Well, didn't he audition for Batman at one point for Dark Knight? Oh no, that was Spider-Man, wasn't it?
I think he auditioned for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I think he also auditioned for Nolan's Batman Begins.
Yeah. Gyllenhaal would be a good Batman, but I don't think it would get me as excited personally as if it was a no-name.
I think the way I'm not saying, because I don't think they did it this way, but I think the way the Marvel like stumbled upon doing it, where you have some known names, you have some unknowns, where Robert Downey Jr., but then you have Chris Hemsworth. Who is Chris Hemsworth? And then you have Chris Evans, the rom-com guy, and then you have Edward Norton. Granted, he's not in the universe anymore, but Norton as the whole, like, who's it? Yeah,
the guy from Project X,
guy from Project, all that. And it all works. And you have this mix of new names that you're not familiar with, and then you have these names that, I know who that person is. Okay, interesting.
And it could provide for like team up movies good dynamics as well, in my opinion. And there could be a great mentorship and everything. Like, what is it? When Solo, for example, was being made, the fact that Alden Ehrenreich had mentoring from Harrison apparently was really awesome. And that could be a similar situation, just for different roles, of course, not doing it so you could play a younger version of that character. But like, I definitely agree with that. Like, have certain older knowns for certain roles, like Batman per se, and then have younger unknowns for other roles like Superman or Flash or whatever. Because I don't know, I like the Flash pretty well, but I do think they need like a clean slate across if they really want to reset it. Just new actors for all these roles, in my opinion. That's in my opinion. I'm not a studio exec. I'm not a casting agent by any means. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. That is our thoughts on the Superman and Lois casting. Again, not the show, but for Superman Legacy. We got our Superman. We got our Lois Lane. Maybe next we'll get our Lex Luthor, and maybe our Lex Luthor will be Nicholas
Hoult.
All right, everyone.
I do have one thing I want to ask as well, really quickly. I don't know if you saw it. I know it's a little off topic, but did you see the Five Nights at Freddy's trailer that dropped this week? Because this movie has been in development hell for 9 years.
We have a question for it. We have a question.
Oh, do we really?
I'm going to let you take the reins on it.
Okay, cool. Because I
am
a fan of the games. Like, they came out at a perfect time for me when I was younger.
When we get to that question, I'm going to give a very fast answer, and you take the reins from there. All right, Lady Erin starts us off. Thoughts on fellow movie YouTuber Austin Berg becoming a father recently? Not many thoughts, except congratulations to him and his lovely wife, and now their lovely daughter. I hope they're all happy and healthy. And
he's one of the nicest people on the platform. He seriously is one of the nicest, most genuine people on the platform, and I couldn't be happier for him and his family.
Absolutely. Lady Aaron also asks, since we have now arrived on the second half of 2023, if you could pick 3 movies that you are anticipating for the rest of the year, what would they be and why? Only 3?
Are we including July?
Yeah, because July is second half. I'm gonna break your rules and I'm gonna pick 5.
I was gonna do the same.
Dune Part 2, sorry. Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Challengers from Luca Guadagnino, which I'll be watching at Venice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, congratulations on that pass, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I'll also be watching Dune 2, but that one is not confirmed.
That's fair enough. I'll do 5 as well. I would say Return to Silent Hill, but that's not even confirmed. That's still in production.
Oh, yeah.
Another example of nobody's being cast, by the way. Very happy. Although the one who played Adeline in Jigsaw, the redhead with all the tattoos in Jigsaw, she's actually playing Maria in the movie.
Okay.
Which, as a Silent Hill fan, that's perfect casting. Like, that's perfect casting for the adaptation of Silent Hill 2. Don't know who the guy playing James is, though, but that movie's probably coming out next year at this point, along with
It's David Corenswet.
Hang on. Actually, that does sound a little familiar. I'm not even going to lie. Return to Silent Hill. Let me check this casting. hold the bus. Okay, it's coming out in 2024 now. Jeremy Irvine is playing James Sunderland.
Oh,
okay.
I like him.
I haven't seen him in anything personally. I haven't seen him in anything. So. Oh, Warhorse, that's him?
Yeah.
Real? That's good casting. That's really good casting, actually.
And Mamma Mia 2, of course.
Fuck off. Okay, so my 5 for the year: Mission Impossible. What is it?
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yes, I can't wait to see that. I love Fallout and
Tuesday
Nation. I have to wait another fucking 2 weeks. I'm so pissed. I didn't get an invite. It makes me so salty. What is it? Barbie, obviously. Oppenheimer, obvious. No, no, I'm not going to have Barbie in there. I still have a little bit of... I'm looking forward to Barbie, but not as much as these other movies, because I'm about to go down cheesy horror route. So, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer. I am so excited. So fucking excited. I can't wait for Oppenheimer.
Same, man.
The Meg 2, The Trench. I have to put it in there. I love my dumb shark movies.
I didn't know that was what was coming. Hang on.
I'm a big fan of the books of the Meg. Okay. I'm excited to see an actual book of the Meg being adapted this time, as opposed to just original material before starting a franchise. Mm-hmm. Then we got Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
And Saw 10. You've got to have Saw 10 in there. I've got to have Saw 10
That's the one I'm like, yeah.
Trailer coming this month! Finally! It's coming on July 28th. I can't wait. It's taking place between 2 and 3. Tobin Bell is back in his full prime as Jigsaw. There's like a massive 6-month gap in the timeline between Saw 2 and Saw 3 that is just untouched. And I'm like, give me all of it. I'm so ready.
Fingers crossed. Fingers and toes. Everything that can be crossed.
I mean, Amanda Young's returning. Shawnee Smith was a part of it and everything. So
I hope it works out. Lady Aaron, thoughts on a new trailer that we got for Dune Part 2? I have not watched it because I only watch teaser trailers. The hype's already there. I genuinely do not care to watch it because I just want to watch the movie. And it was 3 minutes long too. So immediately I was like, no way, not watching that. Did you watch it though?
I did.
Okay, just don't give me specifics. I do not care what is in it. Just, what did you think? Oh, how did you feel about the first one?
I didn't like Part 1. I had to see it. I had to see it twice because it put me to sleep in the theater at my screening. I'm not even gonna lie.
For shame, sir. For shame.
I'm sorry. And that made me feel really bad because I was actually at the premiere where the original 1980s Paul Atreides was sitting 2 rows in front of me too, and I actually fell asleep 2 rows behind him in the middle of the premiere. Like, I felt so bad.
Lady Aaron, what are your goals for your channel that you hope to accomplish by the end of 2023? I just want 5K, man. I don't think it's too much to ask for what I do, for the quality of what I do. But I can only do my best. So if I don't reach it, it's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. I just want 5K at this point. It's not too much to ask. Zach, sorry. Patrick?
To be invited to screenings for Five Nights at Freddy's and Saw 10.
I mean, the way you're the only person talking about Saw 10 in a positive manner, at least. No, you are the only person talking about it, period. Like,
in like the next month, the Saw content is going to be back on a roll because there is so much I can.
And you got invited for
Spiral.
Yeah, you got invited for that, right?
Yeah, I got invited to Spiral. So I think it's like a guarantee. I just haven't seen any invites from Lionsgate in over a year. So I'm like, hello, is anyone still there? Hello.
Lionsgate is really easy here, so I should be good too.
I'll just, you know what? I work at an airport. If worst comes to worst, I'll fly over to the UK.
Come over. Lady Aaron, what are some of your favorite movie scenes from the first half of 2023?
Even though I didn't love the movie, I'm in the minority. I didn't love Across the Spider-Verse. I didn't. I thought it was okay. I need to see Part 2 before I actually say I love Across the Spider-Verse. But the scene where older Peter with little, his baby, I can't remember her name, but where he's giving him the pep talk after all of the fighting, after all the chasing of all the Spider-Man, there was something so pure about that moment right there. And like, even though he's trying to palm his baby off to Miles, I'm like, there is something really genuine about how he's trying to help Miles right here. Like,
yeah.
And also Hobie, the entirety of everything involving Hobie, Spider-Punk.
I love in Spider-Verse, my favorite scene is when his mom is sending him away and the speech she gives. The entirety of John Wick Chapter 4.
Well, for me in particular, the dueling sequence at the end of Chapter 4. The duel with the old dueling pistols. Oh, so good.
Let me get more. Lists 2023 movies ranked. In Suzume, when the last 10 minutes, like when Suzume meets this other character that you've seen it, in Guardians of the Galaxy, when Rocket saves the baby raccoons, the train, the oneer, the 21-minute oneer in Extraction 2 is fantastic.
I haven't seen Extraction 2 yet. I haven't.
In Air, there's the scene where he first goes to Michael Jordan's house and talks to his mom, Matt Damon.
Creed 3, the final fight, where literally the entire audience just disappears, and it's literally Goku versus Vegeta, essentially very inspired by Dragon Ball. Like that punch where they just hit each other. I'm like, that is literally the panel from Dragon Ball Z.
100%. And I hate when I see people like showing that shot and then the Naruto shot. I'm like, no. Get your references fucking right.
And Dragon Ball. I know Michael B. Jordan's favorite anime is Naruto, but he's openly said it was fucking Dragon Ball. Their relationship and their rivalry in that movie is literally Goku and Vegeta.
The supermarket scene in Flash. I didn't love the movie, but that scene. Don't forget the tomatoes, or rather, forget the tomatoes. He takes the tomatoes.
I loved you. I loved you more. I loved you first.
Yeah.
That was very sweet.
I love you, Mom. Not everyone likes this movie, but when Kang, and obviously it's very controversial to talk about it right now, but when Kang is beating the living fucking shit out of Ant-Man in the climax, and like those are just some of the ones.
I'm gonna go different here. TV show anime. The final battle between Hun Tengu and Tanjiro Kamado in Demon Slayer Season 3. That character is put in a situation where you think they die. Not spoiling, of course. But when Tanjiro literally goes beyond fucking Hashira level and just takes down Hun Tengu. And when he uses thunder breathing as well, Godspeed, like Zenitsu taught him, I'm like, oh! I knew it was coming, but that's still fucking badass.
Yeah, I agree. That was a finale and then some. Favorite movie scenes. With the release of the new Indiana Jones movie this week, what are some of your favorite Indiana Jones moments? Well, we basically talked about it, but the opening of Last Crusade, the ending of Last Crusade. To me, when he finally understands the meaning of the Holy Grail in the Last Crusade, it's fantastic. I thought I lost you, boy. For a moment, I thought you did too.
Temple of Doom, Kalima.
So and the bridge when he's just start cutting the bridge at the end.
The crocodile pit scene under the bridge. Oh, that is such a cool scene.
The fight with the big dude in Raiders, and Marion starts turning the airplane, and it's just, oh my god, this is gonna happen.
The very short-lived improvised scene with the sword fight where he just shoots him. Classic.
Yeah,
because he was sick that day, and he's just like, "Oh, fuck this."
And it's exactly what Indiana Jones would do. I wonder if they had gone through the actual fight, if we wouldn't look back on that movie and go, "Why wouldn't Indiana Jones just shoot the guy?"
Well, that's exactly right. That feels like such an Indiana thing to do. It's like, why the fuck would I fight you? And it seems like a Harrison Ford thing to do. He's such a free spirit that he'd be like, "No, fuck this. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to shoot him."
Exactly. Oops, sorry. Lady Aaron, with Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny possibly being the final score from John Williams, it's not going to be because Steven Spielberg's going to make another movie and John Williams is going to come back.
100%.
If you could pick one, Jaws 5, The Revenge is Revenge.
There have been rumors of a remake for years now anyway, and I just hope it never comes to fruition. I hope it never happens.
It's the Meg. It's here. It's happened. We're getting a sequel to the remake.
The Meg is literally fucking spoofing all the bad Jaws movies anyway, and that's what I love about it. There's literally a banana boat scene in the first Meg movie that makes fun of Jaws the Revenge. Fuck that movie. Seriously.
If you could pick one John Williams score from his huge and iconic catalog, which would be your favorite? And why? Star Wars. Easy.
Jurassic Park.
That's fair.
Jurassic Park. There's no more epic and iconic theme than just the like that just gets me so giddy every single time. I feel like a child watching it for the first time every single time I see Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Lady Aaron, have you guys been hearing about what's going on with the Titan submarine? What are your thoughts? It's a stupid situation. Rich people spend stupid money to go down there when they shouldn't. People died, and that's it. Don't go down there, and don't go up there either.
That's an expensive burial.
Yeah. It is.
James Cameron
$250,000 expensive.
Look, James Cameron's a talented filmmaker, but he really needs to reel in his fucking ego with his statements regarding I've spent more time on the Titanic than the actual captain and everything. I'm like, oh, shut up. Like, I think it's really odd that it was controlled by a fucking Logitech controller. That was a choice and a half on its own. Look, it's a sad and very unfortunate situation, especially when there was an 18-year-old who was pressured into going in to make his father happy. My condolences to all the families and everything. But at the same time, don't fucking go down there. There are so many risks involved. Like, I know it's not Mariana Trench deep, but there's a reason why so few people have been that deep.
The risk is not worth the reward.
That's exactly right.
So let's make this comparison. If you go out and you ask a girl or a guy, whatever you're into, if you ask a girl or a guy out, you get to know you're exactly in the same spot you are in right now. So the risk was worth the reward because nothing happened to you. You got rejected. All right, move on. If you go down there, what's the risk? You die. You don't come back. It is not worth the reward, my friends.
It's the same thing in regards to... It's the same thing regarding skydiving, but at least with skydiving, there is still safety precautions involved in regards to stopping you from free falling like that. There's still an emergency chute. In regards to this,
it's also a fucking cool death if it does go wrong.
Exactly. Whereas down there, nothing is left. The implosion happens in microseconds. It takes, how much did they say? 13 microseconds?
It was like 0.4 microseconds. Like they died instantly.
And it takes 0.13 microseconds for you to realize what's happened. They died before they even realized what's happened. And with that amount of pressure, it's literally implosion. There is nothing left of you. You are atoms. There is nothing with that amount of pressure under there. That's why I was literally white-knuckled that entire James Cameron documentary when he traveled to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. I'm like, how in the absolute fuck do you have the balls the size of Mount Everest to go down there?
Yeah, exactly. All right, if they make a movie about it, we'll talk more about it. Lady Aaron, did you see the latest Nintendo Direct that we got last week? What are your thoughts on it? I didn't know one happened until now. So I clearly did not watch it.
I knew about it like Capcom and the Xbox Showcase, but I had no idea about a Nintendo Direct.
There you go. Clearly a lot of interesting stuff came out on it. Thoughts on the huge almost 400 new members of the Academy list, if you've seen them. Again, I didn't know they just added 400 members this week, so I have no idea who's in it. But congrats to all of them, you know?
I knew, I saw, don't care. Like, I don't follow the Academy Awards anymore. I kind of stopped caring with all the snubs and all that sort of crap that's been going on regarding nominations alone. Nah.
Fair enough.
I've sort of checked out the last couple of years.
Because I'm going to let you take on the Five Nights at Freddy's question, I'm going to forbid you from answering the next question. Okay. Lady Aaron, between Whiplash, La La Land, Babylon, Oh, only these three? I thought you were going to say First Man too. If you have to delete one from existence, what would it be and why? I refuse to play these sick games, Lady Aaron. None of them shall be deleted because they're all formative movies for me, movies that inspired me. So, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nope, none of them. None of them. None of them. Lady Aaron, thoughts on the fire that happened on Warner Brothers lot yesterday? I hope everyone's
There was
okay.
a fire?
Yeah, black smoke coming out of one of the lots. So all my thoughts are, I hope everyone is okay. Like I don't have anything else to say about it. What are some of your favorite TV show moments that you have watched during the first half of 2023? So in Shrinking, there's one episode where Jason Segel's daughter she's not missing, but they don't know where she is, so they go around searching for her, and they go to this college dorm, and Harrison Ford just kills this scene because they go into this room of this guy they think she's sleeping with, and watch Harrison Ford do his thing. Watch Shrinking if you haven't. Okay. And then everything else on top of that, I can just name you moments in The Last of Us, like the finale of that show. When Joel tells the truth to Ellie, and don't cry right now, okay? When he tells the truth about his car and what actually happened.
The entirety of episode 3 with Bill and Frank.
Oh, so good. But when she tells him, "Oh, time heals all wounds," and he just looks at her with pain in his eyes and just says that it wasn't time that did it. Had to take a breather the first time I watched that episode. I'm like, I'm gonna pause right here. But just The Last of Us. Like one moment, I could fill a list with one moment, more moments from just that show. Those are the two shows that stand out for me. Like I haven't seen any other shows so far that I like absolutely love so far this year. That come to mind at least.
I'll bring up Demon Slayer, and I'm just going to say it. I don't fucking care. The episode's been out for like 2-3 weeks now. Nezuko's Sacrifice. That was done so beautifully. Like, I knew it was coming, and I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I've read it in the manga. I'm not going to cry. And then it happened, and I cried like a little bitch. It's such a sad moment, and then all's happy and dandy, and now we've got to wait another like 18 months for season 4, which makes me mad because it's the big arc, it's the big battle, and I'm sad.
It's gonna go by fast because we have a lot of anime until then. Hopefully.
Well, we've got Jujutsu Kaisen and fucking Mushoku Tensei and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Horimiya, Quintessential Quintuplets are returning and everything. I'm like, fuck, man, this anime season's busy.
Shows. Okay. As we have seen over the past 2 weeks, The Flash bombed really hard at the box office. What are some of the factors that you think are the case as to why Flash bombed so hard? So this question, we kind of answered them over the weeks. We talked about the Ezra Miller situation, the fact that the reviews started coming out and they weren't as big as the reviews from the people involved in the film. The fact that they completely mishandled the announcement of the DCU, aka the death of the DCU. Like these people, the DCU never properly established itself. So there's a lot going into that. We talked about it over the weeks.
I'd also have to factor in the 9 years worth of delays. This movie was announced in 2014, and I think people definitely lost interest after a while.
And with the 9 years of delays, you also have and granted, by the end of its run, this shouldn't have a lot of views. Like less people watch the show than they watch some of the bigger YouTubers in this space. But 9 years, an entire generation of people got acquainted and got to cherish and got to love an entirely different version of a character. Yeah, a version of the character. I'm not saying the show in its entirety is better, but a version of the character that is better than the Ezra Miller version. And yeah, you have an entire generation that loves this version of the Flash. And I'm not saying that you should choose one or the other. I watched the show. I watched the movie. But a lot of people did.
The full movie leaking online for a solid fucking 5 hours.
That's true.
Oh, boy.
That's true. On Twitter.
On Twitter. Of all places. Twitter.
Of course,
Good
it
God.
leaks on Twitter because they made it easy for shit to leak.
The audio wasn't synced up properly halfway through either, and people still watch the shit out of it. And I just think that's so funny that they'd rather watch a version of a movie with desynced audio than watching a version in theaters and paying like $10 for a ticket.
All right. And minus Guardians 3 and Across the Spider-Verse, do you think we are starting to witness a sort of superhero movie fatigue or not? No, we've talked about this for weeks as well.
No,
those two movies show you that that's not the case. It's mediocrity fatigue. People don't get tired of dramas. People don't get tired of comedies. People don't get tired of...
It's mediocrity.
Yeah. They get tired of bad comedies. They get tired of boring dramas. They get tired of bad action movies. They don't get tired of action movies, and all that. So, yeah. Lady Aaron, thoughts on Tom Cruise seeing both Barbie and Oppenheimer as a double feature? Why the fuck was I not invited? I want to do that as well before the movies come out. Like, come on, Tom. He watched it here. He watched it here in London. I know exactly the cinema he went to. It's the cinema I go to all the time. Come on, baby. Come on, Tom. I'm your biggest fan, man. Take me with you.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party.
Exactly. He didn't take me because he didn't take me probably because I'm taller than him. That's
he didn't take you because you're in The Witcher and he isn't.
That's true. That's true. He can't be a Witcher. He's not tall enough to be a Witcher. Tyler Van, are you excited for Gran Turismo? I want to see Neil Blomkamp make a comeback. I'm not. I'm completely
I am
flat. I'm flat on Gran Turismo.
I am so excited. I love the games. I grew up with them. I had the full-on steering wheel and gear stick and pedal kit and everything. And then Neil Blomkamp directing this is like a little bit of I don't like Chappie and everything, but I do like some of his other movies.
I hated Demonic. Demonic is fucking awful.
Demonic was fucking dog shit. But at the same time, I'm looking at that trailer and I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, this is reminding me of Ford v Ferrari with how exhilarating these racing scenes look. Give me right now.
All right. Lydia Aaron, I saw on Twitter that you might. No, I am going to the Venice Film Festival again this year. Why are you most excited for, and what are you hoping
and where was my
while you're there? I just hope I see great movies. I hope they get a great lineup on July 25th. I think it's when they're revealing the lineup. I get Dune Part 2. I know I'm getting Challengers. I don't know what else I could be getting.
Zach is flying out for that shit again. He is flying out to Venice for Dune Part 2 like he did fly to New York for Dune Part 1. I guarantee you.
He should. He should. So, yeah. But yeah, I just hope I see great movies and I can get into all the movies I want to get to. Lady Aaron, thoughts on Ryan Gosling's song is going to be like in the Barbie movie? I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I wouldn't even know. Yeah. That's the only thing I can take from. I have no idea where the influence was genre it is. No, we actually do know the genre. It's a 80s style rock ballad, which me. So yeah, I'm excited, but I have no idea what it's going to be like. It's going to be like an 80s style rock ballad. That's all I know. That's all I can speculate about. Who are some actors and actresses that you think are actually pretty good singers? Who isn't? That's the thing, because a ton of acting, when you start studying acting, you also study theater. And a lot of that goes into projecting your voice. Yeah.
And vocal work in regards to certain techniques like vocal fry and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of them will be maybe not have the prettiest voice. I'm sorry, he does not have the prettiest voice, but Russell Crowe is a good singer.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to acting as well, you study a lot of stuff with your voice, and a lot of the stuff that's implied with your voice and regards to acting is very similar to stuff such as singing, like vocal fry. You may hear an actor with the highest pitches of voices or like a medium range, but they can use something called vocal fry to make their pitch a lot deeper. And it's very similar concepts. And you can just implement and merge the two to go one or the other. So most actors, at least a good handful of them, would be good singers.
Yeah. Margot Robbie says she's not a good singer, but I bet she is.
I bet she sounds like an angel. She can be an angel anytime for me.
Exactly. All right, here we go, Patrick. Thoughts on the new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer and look that we've got if you've seen it. So very quickly, my answer, because I need to go to the bathroom. All right, you take it.
For me personally, I think it looks like a lot of fun. This movie has been in development hell since 2015, I want to say. 2015, 2014. I'm just saying that because I was a fan of these games when I was in primary school and high school. The first game and the second game came out in 2014, I believe. And then Five Nights at Freddy's 3, 4 came out in 2015. So I was in the 8th grade. And then Sister Location came out in 2016. I was the perfect age for these games. Like when they came out, I was the perfect age. And I fell in love with these games. They were very simple. They were terrifying. They were suspenseful, horrific, you name it. And the lore behind them is great. I think having Josh Hutcherson playing the main character as the security guard is phenomenal. Seeing Corey Kenshin at the end of the trailer, who is a YouTuber who got big because of Five Nights at Freddy's, as the taxi driver at the very end, made the kid in me extremely happy. 8-Bit Ryan is apparently a part of it. He's like a little photographed as an employee in the month in the background. Wouldn't be surprising if we saw Markiplier, but that's not the point. I think for the development hell that this movie has gone through, it looks way better than it deserves to be. The practicality behind the animatronics is phenomenal. A lot of people have now shut their mouths regarding the eyes for the animatronics because everyone was complaining about the red eyes. And I'm like, if you played the fucking games, you would know that the red eyes resemble the animatronics possessed by the children. The ones that were a part of like the Bite of 87 and were killed by the animatronics back in the day. And then the ones with the white eyes, such as Springtrap, which we do see in the trailer, is possessed by the purple man. Like William and everything. And I'm like, the fact that they... No, not Kilgrave. Is it Kilgrave? Yeah, it is Kilgrave.
Yeah.
But at the same... David Tennant, love you, man. But at the same time, like... The fact of the matter is, a lot of the complainers are like, we did it for Sonic, we can do it again for Five Nights at Freddy's, have shut up. Because the white eyes are there for Springtrap and everything, who is possessed by William. He was literally got inside that suit and was literally mangled and destroyed inside the animatronic suit, and now he's possessing Springtrap. We see Golden Freddy, which is a nice little thing to have in there. If you played the first game, it was like the most terrifying thing to have Golden Freddy turn up in the game. It was like the ultimate fuck you to the player. I think the movie looks really good. There are so many little Easter eggs inside that trailer where I'm like, a fan of the game would recognize this. Like when the little girl in the trailer says, hello, like that's actually a sound cue that happens in the games in later nights when things start getting more intense and scarier and everything. It's a really cool detail. And I'm excited. I really am. I was a fan of the games. These are my childhood. Seeing particularly YouTubers who became big from these games, it feels like something back to them because this was a big part of their careers and their lives on the platform. They got big because of Five Nights at Freddy's. So to see them included and given that recognition for not just making their channels big, but also making these games as successful as they were is really nice. And it shows that it is a movie for the fans as well. And I've heard some things. Apparently, there were certain things about the script that they chose to use where they were even questioning if they're allowed to do that, which makes me very excited because the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's is not a particularly pretty one either. It is disturbing, to say the least, like very fucking disturbing. Like, I mean, kids under the age of 10 literally having their frontal lobes bitten off and everything by these animatronics and mangled and murdered and stuffed inside animatronic suits with all the razors, wires, electrical bits and bips and bops. And I just sit there and I'm like, if they put that crap in the movie, which from one shot in the trailer, it looks like they are, when Josh Hutcherson literally gets fucking, shackled to the table and everything, and then the animatronic suit is forcefully being put on him. It looks like we might get some of that shit, and I am excited. I'm very keen for this movie.
All right, Lady Aaron, thoughts on a Barbie dream house appearing in Malibu for you to possibly rent to stay in for Airbnb. Thoughts on the look of the dream house? I mean, what I saw was an overhead shot, and there's a pink house right there, so it looks like the dream house.
With Ken
My
in the
thoughts,
pool.
my thoughts on being available to rent or stay in. I will never be able to afford it, so I don't really care.
Did you see that Ken was spelt out with floaties in the pool?
No, I didn't.
But, yeah, with like float toys in the pool and everything, they actually spell Ken.
Ah, that's cool.
But
Okay.
all I'm saying
take another look
is
then.
Christopher Nolan has the perfect marketing opportunity for both Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Just bomb the house.
Bomb the house. Bomb the house. That would be the perfect marketing
But
thing.
bomb it like Mandarin attacking Iron Man in Iron Man 3 style. Go with all the helicopters and just shoot at it.
Or the Canadians bombing the Baldwins in South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Nathan Madigan, with the Flash taking a steep...
Fuck.
I cannot even say without laughing. 72.5% drop last weekend. And Shazam 2 tanking. Should we expect more of the same from Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2? As of right now, yes. Number one, Blue Beetle is not a... It's not an A-list. It's not a B-list. It's not a C-list. Blue Beetle is like a D-list character.
And there wasn't much budget behind it, though. There wasn't much budget behind it.
There wasn't much budget, but on the bright side, it was a movie that was going to be streaming exclusive, HBO Max. They looked at it and they went like, no, this is going to the theaters. Also on the bright side, James Gunn was recently on the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, and he talked about, Blue Beetle is the first character in the DCU. So this is the character that's going to carry over.
Okay, cool.
So it really depends on how they double down on those aspects in the marketing.
Yeah.
How does the marketing, once it like really starts before the movie comes out, how do they double down on all those aspects? But as of right now, I'm not seeing it doing a lot of money. Aquaman 2, let's look on the bad things first. It's a DCU movie. It's a movie that people associate with the same universe as Shazam, as Wonder Woman, as Superman, and they know their universe is dying. So they know they shouldn't care. They don't have to care about this version of the character. And it's a movie that has kept getting delayed as well, kept getting like reshuffled about what cameo are you going to have in it. On the bright side, the first Aquaman movie made $1 billion. I'll repeat that. Aquaman made $1 billion. Who would have ever thought that? So right now, if you were gun to my head, I have to bet on whether Aquaman 2 flops and underwhelms at the box office. I would bet on that. Yeah. But I think because of this, like The Flash was also a very specific situation. I will say that the chances of how Aquaman could be a box office success are also very specific, but they make the chances very low.
I will say that there will be that large audience that will probably boycott the movie, though, because of Amber Heard still being involved. Like, there was a lot of that
could be.
With The Flash. Admittedly, I don't see it being a different situation because she is still involved.
Here's the thing. Amber... I think there are a lot of other aspects that contribute to Aquaman, like not.
Of course,
box office.
Of course.
Amber Heard, you can hide her. You can hide her in the marketing. You don't need. Ezra Miller, you couldn't avoid. You couldn't avoid.
No, that's
Ezra
very
Miller
true.
in your marketing. So, I think it's a very good point to bring up. But I think she's like in 10 minutes of the film total.
If that.
So I think there's a lot of ways that you can hide her in the marketing and boost up the Jason Momoa-ness of it all.
Not
Golden Retriever energy, baby.
Not to mention, like, I heard stuff from like test screenings and everything. One, Amber Heard is only in it like 5 to 10 minutes. I heard that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also heard from early test screenings, which were posted online, that the movie is actually kind of a fucking mess. I heard, admittedly, that the movie is nowhere near the quality of the first one. It's nowhere near as good. And this is from like reactions to early test screenings, even for the first Aquaman, like in comparison. And I'm like, well, that's a fucking shame because I really like the first Aquaman. And James Gunn is James Wan is back, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think with the whole trial situation, he was stuck in a iffy situation there as well regarding like relationships on set and the whole trial thing. I do think, admittedly, even though it's not the biggest, I wouldn't even put it in top 10 contributing factors to if Aquaman 2 is a box office bomb or success. I wouldn't even put it in the top 10, but I do think the whole Amber Heard thing is going to be a form of contributing factor.
Yeah, for sure, a factor. Denise Scott, is it true Warner Brothers caught on fire? As far as I know, unless it was Photoshop and I fell for it.
Wait, what was this?
Patrick didn't even know about it until today. So,
wait, what's this?
The fire on the Warner's lot that we talked about.
Right, yeah.
Like, as far as I know, it's true. Denise Scott also asks, with Mortal Kombat 2 officially filming, what are you hoping for to improve? I'm someone who thought the 2021 was fun, maybe improve the fighting. Definitely have more brutality, like have more, not even brutality, because the brutality was good, but have more over the topness of the fighting. It was, the fighting was, I enjoy my realistic fighting, but it was too real. Like, it was just martial arts. Like, have some guy kick and then punch and then kick, and the person's just in the air.
Give us brutalities, because that's one of the most cartoony fucking sort of finishes in Mortal Kombat. Give us some brutalities where someone literally just lobs someone's head off with a punch. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Give us that. Did you see some announcements that were in it? Did you see who they cast as Johnny Cage?
Yes, I did.
Carl motherfucking Urban is Johnny Cage.
Billy fucking Butcher.
Billy fucking Butcher. And we've got Baraka. Baraka is in the movie. Like, when I saw that label on the chair and I don't know the actor's name, but he had the tooth necklace. And I'm like, you're fucking Baraka, aren't you? You're the fucking Outworldian who literally has the bone claws and made his way into X-Men Origins Wolverine somehow. Baraka is in this movie. And I am so fucking excited. Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, Baraka, Johnny Cage, Katana's in it. Oh my god!
The biggest thing to improve on this one from the first one, and I really enjoy the first one.
I do too.
I have no apologies in regards to that.
No.
Actually, have a Mortal Kombat tournament. That's the thing for this one, honestly.
With the first one not having a tournament, because it was definitely setting up a franchise and having.
I was fine. Yeah. In retrospect, I'm fine, but because you already didn't have it in the first one, you need to have it now.
Who was the actor who played Kuai Liang? Not Kuai Liang, sorry, Bihan, Sub-Zero. That was Tony.
No. It was Joe Taslim.
Joe Taslim. Look, I need Kuai Liang in this movie as the newer generation Sub-Zero, and to have that banter between Hideyoki Sanada, because he's apparently returning Scorpion.
Of course he is.
Hasashi. Fuck yes. But I need like the younger, more mature, and more whimsical Sub-Zero, the next generation, to come in, because fuck, I forgot his name immediately again. Sub-Zero Bihan.
Joe Taslim.
Joe Taslim. He signed on for a 5-movie deal, if we remember.
Yeah.
Bihan, through Shao Kahn and Shinnok and Quan Chi, becomes the Revenant we know as Noob Saibot.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him return as Noob Saibot and fight Kuai Liang. And see Kuai Liang, Sub-Zero, and Hiroyuki Sanada as Hanzo Hasashi fight Noob Saibot. And not gonna lie, the burnt crispiness of Sub-Zero at the end of the first movie sort of gave the indication. It was very hinty at the idea of a Noob Saibot coming in. And I would love that, because it wouldn't surprise me with Shao Kahn being in this movie, that Shinnok and Quan Chi and Kotal Kahn, for that matter, being in this some point too. I would love to see other Mortal Kombat characters turn in, like Stryker, for example, and Shiva.
Oh, yeah.
Shiva, like, because Goro's fucking dead. Would love to see that. Would love to see that.
True.
Also, new Mortal Kombat game in a month. New Mortal Kombat game next month. Give it.
Is it in 1 month?
I think it's August or September.
Oh shit. Okay. Need to finish Jedi Survivor then fast. Nathan Madigan, thoughts on David Zaslav cutting costs and laying off the majority of the staff behind Turner Classic Movies? Another Zaslav L for us all to enjoy.
Oh, classic Zaslav.
This man. Classic Zaslav L. Just
Zaslav, you.
Oh, you fucking hater of movies taking over a movie company. Classic Zaslav. 80s sitcom at its best in real life.
What a fucking idiot.
Amen. Nathan Madigan, would July ushering in the Barnes & Noble 50% cartoon sale in the US? Do you have any favorite movies from the collection that you own? And are there any you're looking forward to buy? So I can't answer the I'm looking forward to buy, because off the top of my head, I don't know what's in the Criterion collection, and we don't have Barnes & Noble here. I'm not from the US, so I don't know. I don't have access to it. I fucking wish I did, because I would splurge on it. Criterion collection movies that I own Inside Llewyn Davis on Criterion. I own Marriage Story on Criterion,
and I think that's the only one I have.
And The Irishman on Criterion. Off the top of my head, that's it. I don't think I own any other
Marriage Story. I think the only one I've got is Marriage Story, because that was my favorite movie of 2019. I was like, I'm getting this even if it kills me.
Do you know which one I wanted to get? I never saw it. Getting released here. The Wall-E Criterion one.
Yeah, I want the what is it? I want the Nightingale Criterion.
The Jennifer Kent's The Nightingale?
Yeah, Jennifer
I was just talking about that movie yesterday.
So good.
The topic was movies that are so good, but you don't watch again.
Yeah, that's a movie that I've seen twice. Once in theaters and once at home. And even that second viewing, I was like, oh boy, it was my second favorite movie of that year.
The first 10 minutes.
No, Nightingale was my favorite movie of the year, and Marriage Story was my number 2. But no matter how much I love The Nightingale, I can't fucking watch that movie again, man.
Was The Nightingale 2019?
It was 2019.
Oh, shit, I thought it was 2018. Fucking hell.
2019.
By the way, I do have access to the Wall-E Criterion Steelbook. It's on Amazon here.
You know what? At least I have my Studio Ghibli Steelbooks, so I have that.
Nice. All right. We are nearly out of time. I'm going to answer one question from Jico EP, one question from Eric Thorpe, and one question from Tony Movie Chappie. All right. Jico EP, thoughts on the Kraven the Hunter trailer? It's fine. I'm here for the Russell Crowe accent era. I think the Red Band version is much better. I think overall it looks okay. It looks the best out of any of these Sony Spider-Verse-less movies, which is not saying much.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. The best it can get is fine. So
I don't see it being good. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson will do a good job as Kraven, but the way that they've written this and from what they've shown in the trailer, it's not Kraven, man. It's not.
Oh, the way I started laughing at the end of that trailer when the guy goes, "You want to see why they call me the Rhino?" And
boy,
it's so funny. It's so
but
funny.
At least it feels like a rhino this time, though. At least it's actually him turning into a humanoid fucking rhino, rather than
yes, Patrick.
But I am the Rhino.
But given how Venom looks, how whatever the fuck the other symbiote in the first one is, Carnage and Morbius look. You want to see how this Rhino would look? Because I don't know. I am guessing right now. I will take the Paul Giamatti robot suit at this point.
I like the design of Venom in the first Venom and second Venom movie. I think Venom is the best looking out of all of them. And it looks like for Spider-Man 2 for the PS5,
I think Carnage is the better looking.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, like when you compare how good Carnage and Venom look, because they've definitely taken inspiration from the Sony Venom for the PS5 Spider-Man 2 that's coming out. Yeah. They've clearly taken fucking inspiration, and I'm kind of happy about that. By the way, Tony Todd voicing Venom is so perfect. I need to point that out. That's fucking chef's kiss. All I think of is Candyman and going, Helen. But no, like Rhino will look like a fucking cursed image on Reddit. I ever feel he will look like a r/cursed images post.
Yeah. All right. Eric Thorpe reviews. And by the way, with any of the questions left, just save them in a Word document and throw them again next week because we're having a show next week. Eric Thorpe reviews. With it seeming more and more like the DCU won't bring back almost anything from the DCU, how do you think Peacemaker 2 Season 2 will fit in? Or will just be a part of the DCU and not play into the DCEU and not play into the DCU. So James Gunn has officially said he's going back into Peacemaker. So one way or the other, Peacemaker is going to be in the DCU. I think he's very much going to be like, not exactly, but in a similar way to how they're bringing Deadpool into the MCU. Peacemaker is just going to be like, Superman, oh, you look different last time I saw you. Like things like that. I don't think they're going to overcomplicate it.
It'll be like a Deadpool 2 thing where there's like that one thing in the room behind them and it's like all the X-Men that he wouldn't be familiar with. And I think that's more or less what it'll be like. And it's not like he had much involvement with any character a part of the DCEU aside from Harley Quinn. He never interacted with Boomerang. He interacted with Rick Flag, but that's about it. Like, there are ways you can literally get around that and be like, oh, no, turns out Suicide Squad was kind of just a part of this anyway, aside from the whole Batman, like, fucking arresting Harley Quinn side of things with Batfleck. Like, there are ways that you can literally just excuse it and no one will even question it, if I'm being honest. Like, there are very simple ways around it. And even then, considering Flash, you could just do a fucking multiverse thing. If you want a really easy cop-out idea.
Yeah. Tony Movie Chappie, final question from Tony Movie Chappie. I don't know about you guys, but the one thing that worries me is that when James Gunn's Superman Legacy, when it comes to James Gunn's Superman Legacy, and let's say it's the best Superman movie ever, because I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of people saying that this is Superman movie we've been waiting for and so much better than that garbage Zack Snyder Man of Steel. Who gives a shit?
No one's gonna fucking say that. I'm telling you.
I don't care. I'm sure a lot of people are, but I don't give a shit. Man of Steel is one of my favorite movies ever made. Like,
Man of Steel.
I don't care that people say that. It doesn't affect my opinion of the movie, so I don't care. It doesn't worry me at all.
Man of Steel's definitely got some dumb moments in it, like how Papa Kent literally gets fucking sort of zipped up into a tornado. I've always thought that was a little silly, but at the same time, like everything else about Man of Steel is fucking great. And I don't, with all the fucking Snyder fanboys that are just so fucking biased on the internet nowadays, it's going to become a war if anyone does that. And I seriously don't think anyone's going to be like that. If anything, I think it's going to be the complete fucking opposite.
I think the internet, Twitter is going to Twitter. The internet is going to internet. They're going to attack each other. People are going to say that Snyderverse was so much better. People are going to say this is so much better than Spider-Verse. But who gives a shit? Watch the movie and then decide what do you think.
Yeah, it's your own opinion that matters most. As long as you enjoy the movie, that's what matters. If you don't enjoy the movie, better luck next time. Like, we can't win them all.
Yeah. And then Patrick and I are going to come here and we're going to disagree. He's going to love it. I'm going to hate it, or vice versa. And we're going to go, okay, I disagree with you. And we keep going and we keep answering your questions.
That's what we've been with the MCU for however long. That's what we've been for the MCU for however long. I haven't enjoyed the MCU aside from a handful like Shang-Chi and Guardians 3 and Eternals for God knows how long.
Yes, Eternals.
I love Eternals. But at the same time, the disrespect that people give to each other because someone liked the movie or someone didn't like a movie, it's just fucking... What the fuck, man? Like, I really enjoyed The Flash. I did. I saw it 3 times. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I had a good time with it. It actually, to a degree, spoke very close to home in regards to the whole family fucking story behind it. And, you know, to diminish someone's opinion just because you don't feel the same, it's 2023, man. Come on. Fucking grow up as far as I'm concerned.
Unless they're people you hang out with, people whose opinions you value because they're your friends, they're your family, they're the people you constantly talk to about movies with, who gives a shit what others think? Be curious, learn their opinion, but if you disagree, you disagree. That's fine. And that's going to do it. A very uplifting final message on This Week in Geek. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in a while, next week, there is a show. We're not going to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks until the next episode. We're going to be here next week to talk about I don't know.
Yay!
Whatever's going to happen this week. So
Five
thank you so much for watching. Five Nights at Freddy's. Thank you so much to Patrick for joining me here today. Hopefully, maybe Patrick can be here next week. Zach is going to be here next week. Maybe next week we have all seen The Witcher and we have all noticed me in the background when Robbie Amell walks out of a room. Yes, I'm in a scene.
I'll get my cum rag ready for when you pop up on screen. Wait, hang on.
You'll get your what?
My cum rag.
I kind of the same thing, but I thought you said I'll get my camera, which was kind of we were on the same line. I was a little confused, but I got the spirit. All right, everyone.
It just means you're a handsome gentleman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to watch Brokeback Mountain tonight with Mike Feist and Lucas Hedges.
Get your cum rag. Get your cum rag.
Get my cum rag ready. We'll see you throughout the week with videos. Go watch my Indiana Jones review. It's doing pretty well. So thank you so much to everyone who watched this far. Go watch my Nimona review. And I'm still working on that Flash video essay. Stay tuned for everything that's to come. And until next time, you know how it goes. Love each other and love the movies.